With an all-bangers playlist, a scaled-down version of his boyhood treehouse, the fourth and final season of Succession opens with another birthday party. However, this celebration is much more formal than Kendall's 40th. In comparison, cousin Greg's +1 and her enormous handbag making an appearance at Logan's birthday party would be considered scandalous. Logan's birthday party is a staid old money, legacy media-style affair that is only open to his inner circle and carefully chosen guests. The birthday boy is utterly, irredeemably miserable, and the celebration cannot hide his loneliness or the howling abyss at the center of his life. Nevertheless, the two parties are linked. No one he cares about is there, even though the word cares is perpetually ambiguous when describing how members of the Roy family feel about one another. He has lost the ones he values most in the world, his children, who he also used to play with because they were so stupid. Although the first episode does not explicitly state when it takes place, it is soon enough after the ending of the previous season that the transaction between Waystar and Gojo, a sort of doomed 21st century equivalent of AOL acquiring Time Warner, has not yet been completed. In 2 days, the agreement will become final and binding, providing some leeway for deception, especially given that Daddy and the kids are at it again. The union between Kendall, Shiv, and Roman has remained solid in the interim between seasons, resembling planets orbiting their father's gravitational resentment. They concentrate on the billions they stand to receive from the deal and the potential for going it alone as Logan and Gojo get closer to getting married. They see themselves as youthful and cool, and if Logan was never going to allow them to steer his stolid dinosaur-like business into the future, then by God, they'll do it themselves. The 100, their planned business, is an absurd collection of buzzwords and references that passes for a new media company. The various methods it is explained to investors are as follows. The New Yorker meets Substack meets Masterclass meets The Economist. It is a vital, customized media center. The best minds in every discipline, from AI to Michelin-rated restaurants to Israel-Palestine. High-calorie info snacks and a one-stop information store. 100 sounds, at best, like an upgraded startup version of Alter, the trendy business Kendall introduced into Waystar at hefty cost before being forced by his father to kill it like Old Yeller. The Roy children are too easily distracted to construct their own Vaulter from the ground up. Even though Kendall potentially has the ability to grant himself all the runway, he desires to put the brightest minds to work on high-calorie info snacks. As usual, they locate another shiny object to chase right away. The kids will have enough money between them after the Gojo deal to make a serious bid for Pierce. It is rumored the reputable media business that has been Logan's white whale for years. The chance is too tantalizing to pass up, particularly after Logan made them look bad for trying to halt the sale. Shiv's suggestion that they both flee the 100 puts Roman in the uncharacteristic position of having to act like the adult in the room. Let's launch a high-visibility, execution-dependent disruptor news brand while simultaneously performing CPR on a corpse of a legacy media conglomerate. Kendall and Shiv can't get away from the 100 fast enough, but Roman's reluctance to pursue a Pierce acquisition indicates that he still harbors a fear of his father. He has a difficult time being defiant. He never stops trying to win people over. How little money matters to those with unlimited quantities of it is one of the main themes of The Munsters. The freedom to live a thrilling psychodrama and participate in the conversation is the greatest indulgence money can purchase for them. The forgotten Roy child, Connor, speaks to Greg and Bridget at Logan's party about his chances of winning the upcoming election and how his current 1% share of the voters might be squeezed if he doesn't take aggressive action. Greg looks perplexed and questions the obvious. Squeeze down? Out of 1? The lowest figure is that. Connor believes he needs to spend an additional $100 million and possibly reimagine his forthcoming nuptials to Willa as a razzmatazz-filled media event in order to maintain his precious percent. He views 9 figures as a negligible cost for a tiny portion of national significance. Money isn't really a concern for the Roy children as they try to outwit their father at the nicely decorated Pierce estate. The show takes great pleasure in exposing the high-toned hypocrisies of a liberal billionaire living it up to the fullest, just like in the Turnhaven episode in the 2nd season, when the Roys shared an awkward weekend with the Pierces. Even though Nan Pierce makes of having a headache and thinks every billion-dollar offer for her business is too obscene to even debate, her opposition to Logan over the years has always seemed more personal than ideological. Despite Shiv's assurances that the Roy children will not tamper with the Pierce brand, she desires the best outcome for her family, her shareholders, and herself. Simply put, she will take the highest offer. Logan and the kids engage in a bidding battle during the negotiations, but Logan himself appears to have enough business sense to refrain from overbidding. The final cost of the win for the kids is $10 billion because they don't want to nickel and dime it by offering, say, a bid of $500 million less. Dad's only response after the negotiations is, "Congratulations on saying the biggest number, you morons," and it's unclear whether he's making fun of them for overpaying or upset about losing the business he'd always envisioned destroying. All of them can afford to play these activities, and their immense wealth forces them to compete against one another, whether or not they get along. Of course, money still cannot make you happy. Tom and Shiv reunite in their penthouse for the first time since, presumably deciding to a trial separation in the aftermath of Tom's stunning betrayal last season in a heartbreaking scene near the end of the episode. Tom desires to speak. Shiv refuses, and that's possibly the main distinction between them. For a go-getter executive type like Tom, the Wambskins-Royd partnership might appear to be a wedding of convenience, but of the two of them, he seems to have understood their relationship as a genuine marriage. He says, "If you would talk, because there are some things I wouldn't mind saying and clarifying," she replied. While they wistfully clasp hands at the end of the episode, Shiv acknowledges some of his melancholy, but does not have the same desire or capacity for true intimacy. She takes after her father, who early in the episode refers to interpersonal interactions as markets. She is liquidating her stake in the matrimony industry.